Hello YouTube, this is Morgan Airspeed Prime here with my next Avatar news update video. We're going to start off here with some very disappointing news. Just when you thought it couldn't get any worse for Dark Horse this year with the lack of communication, leaving the whole very soon with announcements thing ongoing for close to 2 months now. Still no sign on any of that stuff. While that is still in play, while we're still waiting for that, the one book that they have announced that is a new comic, new content, the only thing we really have to look forward to, because Beast of the Four Nations is all over the place with regards to if it's been confirmed or not, and does it actually have a proper date. Again, Dark Horse still haven't acknowledged it themselves. It's still not up on their website. Chibi's Volume 1, Aang's Unfreezing Day, has been delayed again. So this has been one of the most heavily delayed books in terms of the number of delays it has suffered and how quickly it suffered them. Now, I was all prepared to do this video where I only talk about the not live action Netflix news, which I'll get to afterwards. I just quickly checked on Edelweiss to see has anything been announced, and I happened to notice that the date on this book changed. I was shocked to see a negative piece of news come up. What the news is that this book is now coming out 10th of May 2022. Previously, only a few weeks ago, it was delayed into, I think it was like the middle of March 2022, but now it's coming out in May. So my big thing, what really concerns me about next year, is that May 2022 is getting an awfully close to a year between new books. Suki Alone is the last new book that came out from Dark Horse in July. We're only like 2 months and a bit away from it here with this date, if it even sticks to this date. Now, again, there are announcements that we know confirmed are waiting to happen. And because I suppose the announcements are delayed, they could theoretically be books that are maybe coming a little bit sooner than we expect. But that's a lot to assume. So if they do announce a new book, we have to assume it's for a May, June, July, August release at the absolute earliest. That's just the way it's going to work. Either way, we are going most of the first half of next year with no new books whatsoever, and it is a terrible look for Dark Horse. I think it's a kind of terrible look for the Avatar fandom, the Avatar franchise, full stop, to see it be so kind of heavily mismanaged like this, that merchandise firing on all cylinders, books coming to a complete halt. I understand there's delays and COVID and stuff like that, but really, it has caused effectively like a year without a new book. Like, I don't understand that. And in Korra's case, like, it's getting like towards 2 years. So really kind of wild stuff. The other thing I noticed, that maybe it was there before and I just completely went past it because I just assumed it was going to be like the other books, but this book's going to be a hardcover. The Chibi books, I guess, are going to be hardcovers, which I think helps to distinguish them from the rest of the stuff, to highlight that it is more aimed at kids than any of the other Avatar books are. Probably highlighting maybe that it's not super canon. It maybe is more leaning into being the sort of Chibi kind of continuity of like just crazy stuff happening. We'll wait to see here, but this is very frustrating just because this was the one thing that we sort of knew like we'd be getting towards news by the end of the year. Potentially seeing preview pages for this, if it was sticking to like a February-March date, we might have seen preview pages right at the end of the year. Now it being pushed into May means we're probably not going to see preview pages until March, and everything just keeps getting pushed back. Very frustrating, and I think it's frustrating just by itself that we even have to be like, the only thing we have to look forward to in publishing at the moment is this book, because Beast of the Four Nations still has nothing really going on. So yeah, baffling stuff from Dark Horse. They need to make some announcements or say something at this point. The lack of communication after they did say something, but now it has since turned into like that is not the case at all very soon, not at all. they need to work on that. Just to confirm it here, the Dark Horse website also has this May 11th day as well. They do also say, it is hardcover here, so that's interesting as well. And that's really it. So I don't know, maybe some new information about this book means they're maybe getting towards making some of these announcements. Who knows? But yeah, we'll move into the live action Netflix show news. So it has started production, is effectively what the news is. Yesterday is when they started production, on the 16th. Here's the official news here from the Netflix Geeked Twitter account, which is official to Netflix. So we have a cast and crew photo. Here's just the 4 main cast members here on the production stage, I guess. And then they basically, across these tweets, covered the idea it's in a custom-built facility in Vancouver. Pixelmondo Virtual Production is the production crew. State-of-the-art stage is one of the biggest virtual production volumes in North America. 23,000 square foot of stage space, 3,000 LED panels. So like it says here, the volume was very heavily used on The Mandalorian. That was a big kind of piece of technology that was highlighted from the production on that show, and it looks incredible. It does CG very well. Like, how do you do Star Wars on a TV show budget? How do you do Avatar on a TV show budget? Well, using the volume, that's how. So that's actually looking quite positive. That's a pretty notable piece of news that they're using this high-tech stage for a show that will likely need a lot of CG. So that's really, really cool. It allows for visual effects to be done in real time in camera, combining multiple environments for a new standard of immersive storytelling. The showrunner just says he's thrilled to start production with the technology that they're using. It's going to be good. And we of course get the cast and crew kind of big photo here. Again, you can see the sort of volume in the background. Look at all those LED stuff, highlighting that it's there, it's happening. They've made some other announcements, as we see here, for some other cast members. I'm wondering how long it will take for like maybe leaks to come out to see characters in costumes, stuff like that. I think the fact that they're doing a lot of it just in the volume means we probably won't see a lot of it, and they'll maybe, like the announcements here, really control that stuff themselves. But it's nice to know the show's at least in production now. So yeah, here are 3 new actors for 3 characters here. So we get our Iroh, our Gyatso, and our Zhao. So Paul Sun-Hyung Lee is going to be playing Iroh. The photo they got here, like, it was like, yeah, that works, definitely. That's gonna be cool. I saw him in The Mandalorian. Again, his role was relatively small, but I could see how he could play a good Iroh. So very little experience with the actor, but the look, sure, yeah, why not? Interesting that with Iroh and Zhao, they also included who's playing Gyatso. Now, I guess that means that they're going to. I guess that means this actor will be involved like early on in production, so I guess in some of the earlier episodes. Interesting because, like, obviously in the show, Gyatso is only kind of present in flashbacks in like 103 and 112, Southern Air Temple and the Storm for the most part. So I'm wondering, does this mean that maybe the role of Gyatso is bigger here? Does that mean we're going to get more flashback? Might we see some Air Nomad genocide stuff which would allow Gyatso to actually play a bigger role? There's options to have a bigger role. Obviously it doesn't really say how big a role any of the characters are going to be, but we know Iroh's going to be with Zuko the whole series pretty much. Zhao is going to be our main villain for the first book. We've seen ATLA. But Gyatso alongside them is interesting because the only other like actor apart from the main 4 that they've announced is Daniel Day Kim is playing Ozai. Yet they haven't like revealed like, is there a Suki cast yet? I think there were rumors or like sort of confirmed information that they were casting for a Teo. So they are going for some of the sort of more minor characters in the sort of solo episodes in book 1. So that'll be interesting to see as the days go on, as they get through production. Like, do we see a Boomy get cast? Do we see a Jet get cast? Those type of things. Roku, that's so on and so on. So Lim K-Soo is going to be playing Gyatso. again, looks pretty good. I don't think I've seen him in anything. Again, I don't tend to watch a ton of live action stuff, so that's why I'm not super familiar with a lot of actors. But I actually am familiar with Ken Jeong, who obviously was in Star Wars: The Force Awakens, but I primarily know him from Lost, where he plays Miles. Very interesting choice here for him to play Zhao. Not necessarily the actor I would consider when I think of the character of Zhao. Maybe this might be where they are going in like a slightly different direction. Just because, like, can he get across the physicality of the role of Zhao in terms of that commanding presence? Or will they be playing up Zhao as being more of, like it says there, the scheming, ambitious character, which is slightly different than I think the way he's almost kind of portrayed and shown in the show. The Last Airbender movie also kind of did Zhao a little bit differently. It was a kind of weird performance, but it kind of, at least for me, it was kind of one of the more like interesting decisions I think the Last Airbender movie did with who they cast and the way they had him play it, of like not going for the sort of snarling kind of always trying to outdo Zuko Zhao, but instead like this kind of very different character. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how that goes, because we're going to be seeing, I suppose, quite a lot of Zhao as the main villain for the most part. So that's cool. And then they just recap, the actors they already have from before. So far, like, so good. Basically, like the casting seems to be going well. It's gone into production. They're using the technology that like will probably make the show as best possible. They obviously, it's one of those things where, like, to get the maximum out of the live action, they definitely need to get a lot of it done and out there before any of the Avatar Studio stuff really starts to come out. Because I think if they really deliver on any Avatar Studios announcements whenever they happen, it is going to take away a lot of attention that was maybe on this show, especially because we haven't been getting a lot of content. I think everyone is desperate for new content, and live action adaptation, while technically new to a degree, it's not new content. So there's only so excited you can really get about the adaptation. And that's why, like I've said before, to me a lot of the main interesting points as we get along here is this start of production, hearing about the initial actors. The next step, I think, obviously is going to be who do they cast, like who doesn't get cast, I suppose, for specific characters. Like, are we getting they'll have to cast Apaku, but like Zhang, like the characters who only appear in one episode in book one, how many of them are going to get cast, like, and confirmed to us what episodes they're doing? I'd love to see some shots of what the costumes are like, just to get a sense for, like, okay, this is what they're going for here. I'd like to see that sooner rather than later. And then I think beyond that, it's just like, yeah, I'll watch the show when it comes out. I don't necessarily feel like I need to like cover every single tweet that the actors make about the show or the production. It's in production right now. Now I just want to see, what are you changing, what are you sticking to, and I want to see the show itself. So yeah, that's the video. In the comments, let me know what your thoughts are. A very disappointing delay, very unneeded last minute. It's hard to say that because, of course, this book, going back to this for just a second here, this book, let's remember, when it was first announced, had a September 7th, 2021 release date. And it was only announced back in February this year. Shortly after the Avatar Studios announcement, they announced this. So you can't even make the case with this one that, like, was it like, is it just like a victim, I suppose, of some of the planning before Avatar Studios? I'm not sure, because this announcement came out after that one. It's a bit weird the way it all happened, but it got so heavily delayed. It was delayed the day it came out, got delayed again, and now it's not coming out until May. Like, it's not the most heavily delayed book in terms of just the gap between first date and last date. It's getting there, though, very, very quickly. So let me know what your thoughts are on that, and then the start of production and some of the new casting for the Netflix live action show. Let me know in the comments below. But other than that, that has been the video. Thanks for watching, and bye.